Ladies and gentlemen, on this hallowed battlefield today, we see the colonists, the Americans, fighting against their sole rivals at the time. In this time period, there's really one nation that can stick out in your mind as to who would be the enemies of the Americans. And ladies and gentlemen, they're here today. Their redcoats come charging across this open field, going into the American lines. If you guys are looking forward to this one and would like to see more like it in the future, of course, let me know in the comments section down below. Hit that like and sub button, and thank you all for 800 subs. Let's continue on here. We just witnessed the howitzers kill their own horses. Alrighty, anyways, back over to this British regiment of horse that's kind of sitting right outside the American lines here. The Americans are trying to form up, so they're going to have to sacrifice a unit of regiment of horse into this British regiment of horse, because the Americans are nowhere near set up right now, and the British are pushing. You can see that the American lines are all scattered, whereas the British are kind of all bunched up here. The Americans trying to condense their forces to match the British lines, but it is not working to their advantage at the moment. And on the far left, you can see that a British regiment of horse charged into a couple units of Americans. We have an American line infantry unit, an American ranger unit that is fighting here. So the British using their regiment of horse as kind of a disrupting unit right now. The Americans now firing their artillery in retaliation into this British artillery, and also trying to target down some of these lifeguards here. The lifeguards being an excellent target to target down. Now the Americans pushing forward a unit of regiment of horse into these lifeguards. These lifeguards should have next to no issues dealing with this American unit of regiment of horse. And speaking of the Americans, they are going on the attack, ladies and gentlemen. The general's bodyguard charging forward, leading its men into the fight here. And you can see that the Americans pushing forward past their wooden stakes and are going on the offensive. You can see that the line infantry getting dangerously close to that British line infantry. But will they continue the charge and fix bayonets? Or will they set up for a line shot here? Maybe. Maybe. Huh? Are we gonna shoot them? No? Alright, but the British are gonna be the first ones to open up here. We have some British grenadiers firing into some American line infantry. A American general falls on the battlefield, and I'm gonna guess that was that American general that charged forward initially there. But the British are all formed up. Yeah, this general right here. But the British are all formed up and have begun firing on the Americans as they push forward. Now this American regiment of horse being fired upon by that British light infantry, but they're trying to make it to the British artillery, and they do make it there, but they break just as they get to that artillery. So an unfortunate demise for that unit. Americans pushing forward some light dragoons as well, as now the Americans do end up bayonet charging the British lines and are engaging in some nice hand-to-hand combat here. You see bayonet on bayonet, seeing British versus American. This is a fight as this is a tale as old as time. That's the word I was going for and the phrase I was going for. But the British pushing forward, the Americans also pushing back. You can see an American here deep into British lines, getting unfortunately absolutely slaughtered there. But the British doing well at holding their own. British grenadiers now charging the American light dragoons, who are going to try to run away here, get away as quickly as possible. And you can see that the Americans are starting to form up a little bit of a front. But also there is still a lot of the American units kind of scattered everywhere. It's not like they are in a unified front at the moment. They're kind of doing their own little picket fights. So over here we have the left flank of the Americans that are setting up and beginning to fire. You can see American long riflemen firing into some British line infantry units. An American line infantry unit does end up breaking there, which is not good at all for the Americans. But you can also see that they have committed to kind of a full frontal assault. You can see that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 American units here in the center, squaring off against the British. Some light dragoons that are dismounted fighting against the British. They are not faring too well, as you would kind of expect. But they're doing their best. Oh yeah, get up. Show them who's boss. but also artillery rounds coming in as the Americans do continue to try to push the advantage, but in doing so, they have overextended just a little bit, and the British are having a great opportunity to fire straight into the flanks of the Americans, and you can see that that is an absolute massacre. So the Americans overextending their front just a little bit too much, now charging into melee, it looks like just about everywhere. The Americans trying to just overwhelm the British forces here, and it is not working to their advantage at the moment. They need to get some guns up and shoot in here very quickly, or else things are going to start to devolve very fast. And you can already see here 3 American line infantry units breaking off the battlefield. Not something you'd like to see at all. The general trying to rally them by charging in here, but it is just not going to be enough to rally those units. And you can also see that the American artillery is now being harassed by the British light infantry, that being faster and maneuverable, able to make it back behind the American lines here, and is starting to put down some fire on this 24-pounder foot artillery, while the Rangers do try to help support the American line infantry fighting up front. Oh, this is a lot here, guys. This is a lot of talking. My voice is getting used a decent amount in this fight. But yeah, it's just not looking good for the Americans. Across the front, their left flank has almost completely shattered, if not completely shattered. Their middle is really the only thing that's holding, and as I'm saying that, we're watching a mass break out of the American center there. We're seeing some canister fire now out of this British 6-pounder horse artillery, and yeah, just not looking good. The American center is starting to waver here, and once this American center goes, that is going to be all but over for the Americans. Once the center breaks here, they're already losing their left flank. But if they can somehow start to waver this British center, which is not happening at all. And the American center does end up wavering and beginning to fall here. British cavalry now charging forward into the Americans that are shattering. And that is going to be just about all she wrote for the Americans, ladies and gentlemen. The entire front line collapses, and with the front line collapsing, the British get the win in this battle today. So if you guys did enjoy this one and would like to see more like it in the future, of course, let me know in the comment section down below. Hit that like and sub button, and of course, I will see you all next time. Peace.